Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Platinum Planet Records, for that wonderful intro. I love it every single time. And if I let it just play and play and play, it just shows me my dad's chickens back home. And I love those little guys too. So I have an amazing guest tonight. I cannot wait to show you the talent of this man. He has started up a brand new show, and it's called Dracula's Kung Fu Theater. I can't, oh my gosh. Wait until you see this guy. But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor tonight, which is Kogo Coco. And I'm going to bring up their information right here. Okay. Kogo Coco. So that's COGOCOCOA.com. This is our Kogo Coco, and this is rich, smooth, beautiful cocoa. It is chilly here. I'm in Atlanta, but it's cold, like 40. I'm frozen. That is the equivalent of my negative 40. Like it's too much. So, you want a little bit of hot cocoa that just warms the soul. But I'll tell you what else it does. Kogo Coco has so much caffeine, it's going to keep you buzzing. It is 98 milligrams of caffeine per a 6-ounce cup. Like, that's a lot. That's a whole cup of coffee. So imagine a premium hot chocolate filled with rich cocoa flavor, and each cup provides the same amount of caffeine per cup. That's Kogo. Kogo is military veteran started company. And it's just smooth with all that caffeine. You would think that it's like bitter or something. It's not bitter at all. Kogo is richer, creamier hot chocolate made with premium cocoa. It has no soy, which is really nice. I've been walking through the ice cream aisle, and my kids are just chucking down ice cream as fast as they possibly can. And you know what? It kind of irritates me and really surprises me all at the same time how much soy is in ice cream. Like, why? I don't understand it. And soy, as we all know, it's not good for our boys. It's not good for our men because that metabolizes as estrogen. So it really messes up the system. Kogo Coco has no soy. It has tons of caffeine. It's got a great buzz with a creamy, creamy hot cocoa to warm you up. So go check out Kogo Coco. You can get Kogo Coco at kogococo.com. That's GOCOCOA.com or on Amazon. And it's a great little stocking stuffer too. Wink, wink, right? All right, get your Kogo Coco today. And without any further ado, I'd like to say hello to a couple of the people that have already popped on. I know you're so excited. So am I. I cannot wait to bring up our guest to the screen. Looking fantastic, Count Von Dracula Bride. Well, thank you very much. We're excited, aren't we? This guy is amazing. So without any further ado, I would like to bring up Mr. Brad Cotter. How are you? 3, 2, 1, boom, there he is. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me on your show.
Of course. I did my research on you, and man, you are so good as Dracula. So good. I mean, it's just an amazing transformation. I can't wait to show the clip that we have queued up. But tell me first. So we're talking today about Dracula's Kung Fu Theater. And that just recently developed, right? How did that start?
Well, we have a lot of at the business I work at. I work with Retro TV, and we've got a library of kung fu films. And it was an idea to where our boss was just thinking, what could we do with this? Because we didn't want to just air it, throw them out there, at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just as a time filler. He says, we need something weird, like a host for it, but like, I don't know, like a Dracula or something. And then we started playing around with the idea of it because that's stupid. What a stupid idea. It's fantastic. So we were just kind of kicking ideas around. He says, Brad, you want to be my Dracula? And I said, well, yeah. You could tell me I get to play Halloween every day? Yeah, sure. I'll do that. I like Kung Fu. I like Dracula. This was a good fit for me.
Oh my gosh. So, all right, take us through the costumery of it. how long did it take you guys to get to say, okay, that's it? Or did you just run like it was the first makeup and costume and everything that you put together and everybody's like, yeah, that's it?
Well, it was interesting because when we started, the first idea was going through and watching the films and writing the episodes for it. And then pandemic happened. So all of a sudden it was, don't be in the studio. And me and Matt Livingston, Matt Forgy, the guys that helped me produce the show, write it with me, shot it with me, we still had our bubble. It's like we're taking tests, we're doing everything. But basically that means that it's like you got to do a lot of pre-production. So lots of time just being able to sit around and say, well, what does our version of Dracula look like? And we decided on the classic, like Bela Lugosi kind of a stylish guy. And then none of us had any idea about costuming or makeup or anything. So yeah, that was kind of an arduous process. A lot of trial and error went on there.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And then did you just always have this Dracula character inside of you? Did you have to go through classes for comedy and for character acting to get the accent right, to get the whole persona right?
Well, if you were to ask my mother, she would tell you that she sees a lot of Brad in Dracula. So yes, I would like to say that I trained very hard for it and wrote a character Bible and did a lot of deep in research. But no, it's just me and my buddy sitting around and just goofing. We had an idea of, what if Dracula just quit being tired of being scary and got real lonely and needed friends. So you just take that character and go from there. You've been asleep for a while. You wake up. You don't know what a cell phone is, but you know what kung fu movies are. So we just kind of ran with it from there.
Oh my gosh. All right. So my next line of questioning, of course, is going to be about this repertoire of kung fu movies that you guys have. But can I show the clip first? And this clip is available pretty much on all social media platforms. And I have your social media handles. I'm going to bring up into the cast here so that everybody can write it down. And it's really simple, which is, I love that. I love simple marketing, right? So if you just do @Dracula's Kung Fu Theater, you'll find you on Facebook and Instagram. And then Twitter is @Drax Kung Fu Show. And I'll bring that up once everything is finished running. So this is available on Facebook. So if you search Facebook for Dracula's Kung Fu Theater, you'll find it. And if it's all right with you, I want to show this video, which is basically, it's going to set up your first show, which aired on Friday the 13th. So that was this August 2021. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So, hold on. I have a technical difficulty. Let's see. It doesn't want to show it in the stream. All right. Well, set up the location of where you film this, because this is really great cinematography. It's not just you sitting in front of a camera like we are today. Set it up just a little bit for me so that I can grab the video and pull it in. Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty interesting idea because it's in the studio. We have just a studio, but we had the idea of kind of making it like a lot of inspiration from Pee-wee's Playhouse. I'm here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's where Wayne White, the guy who made Pee-wee's Playhouse, is from. So we decided to kind of give it a little bit of that spin. Everything's made out of like foam, and we wanted it to look like we're in Dracula's castle, but also that it was still handcrafted. We had a blast doing that. It took a hot minute, but really proud of how that came out.
Oh, that is so cool. So it is not letting me share my screen. Oh man. But all the viewers can definitely go on to Facebook and look up the video. It's amazing. I wish it would show, but it's not.
Yeah, we got a lot of videos on there too. So it's
you sure do. And I mean, I'm thinking in my head, how can I show this? Because it is so good. But that's okay. After the show airs, I'm definitely going to include the links so that everybody can see you in character, because it is really stellar. I mean, just so funny too. And let's talk about that for a moment before we
Sure.
get into the kung fu movies. So this is, Dracula from the Victorian Gothic horror of what, 1897, right? Bram Stoker's Dracula is like scary and it's You have brought him to life, like you were saying a moment ago, to where he's much more funny. He's more relaxed. He's like searching on the single websites because he's a little lonely, looking for somebody to chat up, maybe. Is that hard to write, or has it been very easy to write that sort of satire?
Well, once you kind of get into the mindset of, it's sort of like that grandparent you have or that aunt or uncle that just isn't hip, still wants to be hip, but just isn't anymore. And you still love them, they're still great. But the idea of it just being, this guy used to be like everything that happened in Bram Stoker's Dracula, that happened. But this guy is now finding out about, like, can't quite figure out a DVD player, but hey, he's got lots of VHS tapes and a VCR. So once you get into that mindset of just who this guy is and how he would operate in situations, it's pretty easy to write. And it's just a fun character because anywhere you can take the classic vampire, like tropey kind of stuff and do a weird left turn with it, you just take that opportunity. And if it makes you laugh, you keep it.
Yeah, no, totally. And your delivery is absolutely brilliant. So, everybody go check out the video. Go check out the show, Dracula's Kung Fu Theater. I mean, it is amazing. I'm a little heartbroken that BeLive TV is not allowing me to share my screen right now, but that's okay. Let's talk about the Kung Fu movies. So this huge repertoire of Kung Fu movies. Whose are they? Are they all yours, or is it all you and your buddies and VHS tapes? Man, how many do you have?
Well, Dracula has all of them.
All of them.
Just all of them. For us, we've got a library of about. Honestly, it was pretty interesting because I grew up watching kung fu films just on Sundays, and then with me and my buddies, we would watch them and we enjoyed them. Everything that we had that was part of what we were going to make this show out of, I had never seen any of them. And it was pretty interesting because, we go into the idea with it that obviously these things are older films. They were, they're overdubbed. They're not necessarily shot the best way possible. And I was actually surprised about how much entertainment I got from these films. Some of them you really get invested on. Some of them are just plain weird, but
Right.
That makes its own sort of entertainment. But we found some quality stuff in there. And there's actually a lot of the actors that are in several of the films that, you IMDb those guys, and they've gone on to have careers for decades.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been fascinating just to kind of find out, what you would consider. I was a fan before, and watching these, what you would consider cheesy kung fu movies, I think I'm a bigger fan now than I used to be.
I bet you are. I bet you really had to, be engaged with these movies. And you're right. I mean, I remember some of the movies where, of course, the English is dubbed in, so the lips don't match. And my brother and I, as kids, we would get it, just through our TV. And I can't remember, like, I want to say PBS, but it wasn't PBS. It was like some weird channel because we still had that TV where it's like you and then what, like 68 and 4, 5, 6, the little knob thing.
Yeah.
That's what we had. And so we used to get all crazy shows, and we would just sit there, one Saturday night waiting for mom to make dinner and just laugh and laugh. We loved those movies. So I bet that's an absolute riot.
Yeah, I think it's funny though because of how I think everybody's kind of got that story. I think that's why the show works a little bit, is because it's sort of like, it's not like it was ever appointment television. Nobody was ever just like, oh, the kung fu movies are coming on at 11 p.m. tonight. You just kind of caught them, and I feel like a lot of Americans had that same thing, to where it's like you're aware of it. Everybody knows about the bad overdubs. That's a thing now. So yeah, it's been really fun to explore it for sure.
Oh, totally. And with the comedy, I mean, you really put yourself out there. So I understand. I'm hearing that you guys have all come together, write the scripts, and
Mhm.
figure out some of the comedy and stuff like that. But for you, as such a huge character, were you a class clown?
No, I was kind of quiet actually. I
Really?
Yeah, well, it's yeah. I mean, it's one of those things to where it's like if you knew me, then yeah, I would try and cut up for you. But most of the time, it was in class. I would be very quiet, and I was either paying attention to the teacher or drawing in a notepad. So
Did you read Bram Stoker's Dracula? Were you like fascinated with Dracula as a kid?
I've been I when I was a very young child, I was afraid of everything, scared of the dark, and stuff under the
Oh,
bed, and I don't know what happened, but when I guess I was in grade school, probably around second or third grade, and we had these books in our library that were like kind of delve deep into the universal monsters, like your old Creature of the Black Lagoon and
yeah.
Frankenstein and Dracula. And for some reason, a flip switched in my head, and I was just kind of obsessed with. I love spooky, scary. That's my bag. So yeah, I've been a fan. I've read Dracula. One of my favorite movies is Nosferatu. I just love that stuff.
Oh my gosh. So I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Really? Okay, let me rephrase that. I have a couple of questions for Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Do you think maybe you can help us get a little insight on how Dracula would answer this, since you know him best, right?
I would hope so. Yeah.
Okay. So what does Dracula think about like all this work? All of a sudden he has a lot of work to do on the show. What does he think about the show?
You've been sleeping for thousands of years. It's nice to be able to dust off the cape and have something to do. Uh, and again, if you think about that, let's say the last time you were awake, it was like, the 90s, and then you wake up today and you have an iPhone.
Right?
That's kind of a big deal.
Right. It would be Planet of the Apes. It'd be
So
like, "Ooh,
yeah, and what else are you going to be doing? Otherwise, it's like you can't go down to the village. Everybody's going to be terrified of you. Uh, so for recreation, it's just, hey, I'm going to fiddle around with technology now.
So, and that's a good point. So living today in 2021 in the
Mhm.
2020s compared to Transylvania of the 1800s,
Oh, sure.
what would be like the biggest change emotionally and socially?
Well, just the fact that you have the ability to what we're doing right now, just that is such a big thing. I mean, I always think about like you'd watch old episodes of Star Trek from the 60s where they're talking on a giant screen to another person. Back then, that was the future.
Right.
So yeah, I can imagine. I would say for Dracula, especially though, you can't see yourself in a mirror. So being able to take a selfie is a big deal.
That's a good point. That's a really great point.
That's
And
why
I
you used to get paintings because you can't see yourself in the mirror.
You're gonna crack me up with the voice. Oh my gosh. So he loves kung fu movies, right?
Yeah,
Is there really a whole lot of blood in kung fu movies?
not a lot. So that's what makes it fun. Is it's very very little. I think the main draw for Dracula would be what it is for a lot of people. The action, the drama, and also the fact that he can look at sunsets.
Through the movie.
Yeah. I mean, you
Ah,
think about that, and it's like if it's been hundreds of years since you've actually seen the sun because you would immediately burst into flames, that would be a nice change of pace. Most of them are shot outdoors. It's pretty and daylight.
okay. All right. One more question for Dracula, and then I got to touch back on that point. So, what about, is it kind of lonely in this time versus the 1800s, or did he have more people around him in the 1800s?
Well, and we're talking about two different Draculas here because back then it was very much about, invite someone to your castle, bite their neck, uh, make them a vampire bride, or send them back to New York to do your real estate business. Um, so yeah, I would think that we're looking at a big shift. I mean, back then you had more people around, but they were all coerced under hypnotic bloodlust.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So now that you can like reach out to people and maybe get a comment on a YouTube channel, not as lonely.
Right.
Some
Yeah,
actual interaction there.
I suppose so. I guess that does sort of fill the void a little bit. But there's no necks to bite. So, he's got to be supplementing with blood somehow.
Oh yeah. Well, you move on to pig's blood. You get Transylvania. If they're terrified of the monster that lives in the castle, you just get a bunch of pig farmers, supply and demand,
Right?
and then there you go.
Oh my God, you are so entertaining. I don't think I've ever laughed this much in an interview. But all right. So Dracula and his future plans. What are his future plans?
Well, I think that future plans obviously would be to continue to share his vast kung fu collection to the world, make new friends that way, and then maybe get out there. Just get out there.
That's right.
You know, I would really like to do something to where, and again, it's a little bit more difficult now, but get out and actually not only meet people in real life, but film what that would be like for Dracula as well, because it's not going to be smooth.
No, it's not going to be smooth sailing.
No. The kind of the name of the game with everything he does is very awkward. So yeah, it would be fun to explore that.
Oh my goodness. And I guess there's, no embarrassing Dracula because he can't blush, right?
Well, and his ego is just out of control. He's always right. No, you can't embarrass him.
Oh my goodness. So if he could describe his perfect vampire bride, what would it be?
I would like to think he's deeply romantic. He doesn't want to show that side because again, we're used to being like a vampiric overlord that people have been terrified for centuries. But I would like to think he's got a real soft spot. I mean, again, you look at what happened in the novel Dracula, and that's just like a messed up love story. So I would like to think that there is in his cold, dead heart, there is a warm spot in there. So we're going to say she's very pleasant and would call him on his stuff. When he starts getting out of control, she'll put him in his place. But it all comes from a place of love.
Oh, wow. That would be an interesting dynamic to visually see. It'd be very interesting. So for your start in comedy, we had talked about you don't have formal training in comedic acting, sketch acting, nothing like that, correct?
Not formally, no.
Not formally. So do you think that this is something that you really will be doing for a very long time? And then once Dracula has had his fill and he goes back to sleep for many, many years, that you'll take a pause from comedy, or do you have future plans in comedy?
Well, as of right now, I'm really enjoying what we're doing, and we're always working on new ideas as well. That's a tease, I guess. Not at liberty to talk about. But I've always been a goofball. I like making other people laugh, and I'm going to do that until I'm dead. So, yeah, I would like to continue whatever avenues open up to me to be able to explore that. Because getting, when you hear, as I'm sure you know, when you hear somebody that enjoys the work you put into something, you get warm and fuzzies about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like to know that, and granted, it's a little bit different because my show's like real dumb and fun. But to know that somebody else watches that and also gets enjoyment out of it is very, very gratifying.
Yes, it's very engaging, extremely engaging, which is why I said, I really wish I was able to share the video that is out there. So there's another podcast that did an interview. You've done a ton of podcasts, but we did a little digging to find out which one it is so that everybody can find it on YouTube. So there's an amazing interview of Dracula in his interview. And this would be the Void video from Evan Void. And you can find it by Kung Fu and the Truths with Count Dracula is what it's called. Amazing interview. So engaging. As we were talking in the green room a couple of minutes ago, a lot of the streaming content, people will pop on, they'll watch for a few minutes, and then there's a little lag time and they pop right back off. It's very hard to get a full engagement from start to finish. I watched all the way through until the bloopers, and I have probably one of the worst attention spans of anyone. So it's really, really good comedy. Just, from the hip, you're just being asked questions in character, and it's like spot on. It's so good. So everybody go check it out. I have a couple of questions from our viewers here, and these are for Dracula. So I have two of them, and they're both date questions. The first one is Dracula's perfect first date. What would that be?
Okay, we're going to do the cheesy thing where I would speak as he would and say that probably the best first date would have to be at night. That's kind of a given. But maybe just a traipse around through the town, see the ancient Transylvania architecture, and hit up my very own bar, Dracula's Knife Tossing Pub. Ladies get in for free, and I own the joint, so cheap date, baby. You're not going to have to pay anything. And then after that, you come back to my place, I suck your blood, and then you stay in my castle cellar.
Wow. If Match.com had little video previews, that would be it right there. And then the next question on the same topic is Dracula's worst date?
That would be Sheila. She just wasn't vibing, man. There was just no vibes. She comes over. I give her a carriage to the castle. I don't even get a thank you. I start showing her a kung fu movie. She looks at me. She says, "This is boring."
Wow. So she was already too dead.
Sheila, out. Yeah, you're too dead for a dead guy.
Okay, good to know. So I have a fun little game to play with you before we go. I really appreciate all your time. You're a very, very, very busy man, a very talented man, and I am honored to have you on the show. But before we get into this game, I want to make sure that we have all your social media handles scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So anybody that would like to find Brad, and especially the show Dracula's Kung Fu Theater, you can follow Brad Cotter and Dracula's Kung Fu Theater on Instagram and Facebook at Dracula's Kung Fu Theater. Like, you made it really hard for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Twitter is just a little bit different, so I'm going to pop that up there. It's at Drax Kung Fu Show. That's DRACSKUNGFUSHOW. Kung Fu Show. Drax Kung Fu Show. All right, so let's play a little game here. And this would be Dracula's favorite. So I have two words. One, which one would be more of his favorite? And let's start off the first one with, okay, well, I have a last one, which is a really great question. Mahogany or pine?
Mahogany.
Ooh. Okay.
Classy. That's classy wood.
If he had to choose for a time frame of sleeping, 8 hours or 14 hours?
8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like he needs sleep, right?
Right. Sure. Coffee or tea?
Well, the correct answer would be neither, because that would make him violently ill because it's not blood. But
Sure.
Let's just say coffee.
Okay. So if he can't find a pig now that he's on pig's blood, maybe a little coffee.
Sure. Well, it smells great.
Smells great. Silk lining or flannel?
Oh, silk.
Ooh.
Silk, yeah.
So he gets to move around in there, roll over very easily.
Dude wears a cape. And a flannel cape is an interesting idea, though.
Okay, well, there you go. There might be some changes in Dracula's life.
Who knows?
Halloween or Valentine's Day?
Hmm. My gut wants to say Halloween, but I think what we talked about earlier, I'd have to say Valentine's Day. But he would tell you Halloween.
You would tell me Halloween?
Yeah.
But I thought Halloween was, pretty boring around.
Well, that's the only time that he could like go downtown and nobody's really going to pay that much attention to him.
Okay, so we know he probably prefers to travel in a hearse, but if he had to choose, if the hearse was broken down, convertible or Jeep?
Oh, convertible. Because it's classy, baby.
And Match or Bumble?
Ooh, Bumble, because she's got to make the first move.
Oh, ooh. And then the last one is if you can't pick a pig. All right, I'm going to take that one off the table.
Mhm.
Blood of.
Well, people would be the quick number 2. But if that's not on the table, then, squirrels or rats or whatever's around.
Okay. All right. Very good. Oh, we have a viewer here that says grinder. So Match, Bumble, or Grinder?
Well, that depends on what he's looking for, right?
Right.
Because I would like to think that Dracula would just kind of be an open offender across the board. It just depends. Dude's been around for a long time. I'm sure his social norms are just all over the place.
Probably so.
If you get bored enough, why not?
That's right. Oh my goodness, Brad, thank you so much for your time. This has been a really, really fun interview. I don't think I've laughed so much from start to finish.
Well, shucks. I've had a great time too.
Oh, thank you. I am looking so forward to seeing your next show. Can you tell us about the next show and Retro TV and just tell us a little bit about that before we disconnect?
Retro TV is exactly what it sounds like. Check your local listings. It's different. We have different affiliates across the nation, but it's we show a lot of retro stuff. And then the idea is we're on at 10 p.m. Eastern for Dracula's Kung Fu Theater. It gets weird around then, good kind of weird. But essentially, it's just what the next episode that we have coming up, we're getting into the weird stuff. The first half of it, it's like pretty normal Kung Fu films, just action oriented, like a little bit of mystery, a little bit of drama in there. The more recent ones have been either almost horror movies or psychedelic. Our last episode is going to be one to look out for. It's not this week, but the week following. That's going to be a twofer. There's 2 Kung Fu movies in that one. There's one that is, I can't remember the name of it. It's good. The movie's good. I wish I could remember. I get them all jumbled up. But there's a twofer, which also features Dracula's Kung Fu film that he made himself.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So we got to check that out at Retro TV. RetroTV.com is where you can find your listings to be able to watch the show. Follow Dracula's Kung Fu Theater on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And Brad, thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Thank you so much. I've had a great time.
Well, we hope you have a wonderful evening. And, maybe you can come back again and I can welcome back Cotter. I've been wanting to say that the whole show.
Sure. You're the first person that's probably said that to me in, over a decade.
Welcome
I
back,
used to
Cotter.
get it all the time, and then it just dropped off the face of the earth.
Nobody knows what Welcome Back Cotter is anymore.
Hey, up the nose with a rubber hose. Come on.
All right. Well, thank you, Brad. We'll see you soon.
Have a good one.
All right. You too. Oh, man. What a great interview. What a great guy. Wow. I just want to say thank you so much to Retro TV and to Dracula's Kung Fu Theater for lending me Brad Cotter for just a moment in time to tell us a little bit about Dracula's Kung Fu Theater. So I think what I'm going to do, because I am noticing that Be Live TV is not sharing the video, I'm going to come off of this broadcast and then come back on to deliberately show just those 2 clips that we had for tonight because they're so good. You're going to be blown away. So hang on after we disconnect. And one last shout out to Kogo Coco. Kogo Coco's been sitting next to me throughout this whole interview. It's so nice and creamy. Everybody go get a cup. Go to Amazon.com or kogococo.com. I'm going to bring up their information one more time. There they are, kogococo.com. That's COGOCOCOA.com. And get your warm, hot, however you like it, burning hot, if you want to like steam your face with cocoa, however you want your cocoa. You can also serve it cold. Go get it. You're going to be buzzing all day long because it's got a full cup of caffeine in it, 98 milligrams, no soy, really nice, rich and smooth. So everybody have a wonderful evening. As always, we are blessed. You are blessed. Mwah! I love you and good night. You're here. Thank goodness.
Man, you do a great job at this.
Oh, thank you so much. And I was really flustered. Let me tell you.
Yeah, this is by far the most professional thing I've done. I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I really had a good time with that.
Well, you know what? You're still here. If you've got a minute, let me see if it'll share my screen now. Because what happened was we're still on.
I meant every bit of it.
We are still live.